Welcome to the deep dive. Our focus today is laser sharp and really personal. Mastering adult friendship and, building that sense of community.
Yeah.
We know you're looking for that shortcut to high-value insight, and honestly, few things feel harder than finding your people once, well, the easy structures of school or college just aren't there anymore.
It's a huge struggle, really huge. We often feel this deep sense of disconnection, maybe isolation, and we don't really get why.
Right.
The mistake we all tend to make is expecting friendship to just happen passively, like it did when we were kids, right? Just because we were around people all the time.
Yeah, proximity did all the work then.
Exactly. And that model, it just breaks down in adulthood. So our mission today is to dig into the specific strategies pulled from these sources that can shift you from passively waiting to actively creating connections.
Okay.
We're going to explore something called the let them theory, and maybe even more importantly, this really powerful habit of going first.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the core problem seems to start with what our sources are calling the inevitable crisis of connection, or, as we've kind of dubbed it, the great scattering. We're sort of conditioned to think loneliness is a personal failing, aren't we? But the sources argue pretty convincingly, I think, that it's often just an inevitable side effect of living a full, mobile, adult life.
That's such a crucial reframe. Loneliness isn't some kind of character flaw, it's more like a structural outcome.
Okay.
The sources detail these specific big life events that cause our networks, our established friend groups, to just fundamentally scatter or drift apart.
Like what specifically?
Well, think about moving. For a career, for more education. Even if you land your absolute dream job in your dream city, you arrive, and you know basically no one locally.
Right.
No one to just grab a coffee with tonight or, catch a movie. You feel this profound isolation, this distance, even if your old friends are technically just a phone call away. That physical void is immediate and it's harsh.
And it's not just about geography, is it? The sources also point out how the emotional reality shifts massively when you go through something big personally, like a family crisis, a serious illness, or maybe the end of a long relationship.
Exactly. When crisis hits, a lot of people, well, they just don't know how to support you. Or maybe they feel uncomfortable with your pain, so they kind of pull back subtly. This gets really sharp during breakups or divorce, Friends sometimes feel like they have to pick sides, or they just drift away because the couple unit they used to hang out with is gone.
Yeah, the whole dynamic changes.
Totally. The community you relied on suddenly shrinks, or it morphs in ways you just didn't expect. And it leaves you feeling doubly isolated. You didn't do anything wrong. Life just, rearranged the board.
It's fascinating how the sources use the college experience, which we all think of as this ultimate friendship factory,
Right.
to show this trap of failed expectations. How those early feelings of being left out are actually pretty universal.
Oh, the analogy is perfect.
Yeah.
You show up on a college campus, or maybe you move to a new apartment building, start a new job, and you expect to instantly meet your future best friends, right?
Yeah, that's the dream.
But what really happens is this kind of frenzy of initial nervous activity. Everyone's anxious. They latch on to the first person they find semi-compatible. Groups form super quickly, like in the first 48 hours. And then maybe a week later, you look around and you think, wait, did I miss something? Am I too late? Everyone else already has their people.
That feeling, that initial, I missed the boat feeling, that's exactly what traps people, I think. They assume they failed right out of the gate.
And that assumption is almost always wrong. Because here's the counter-truth the source reminds us of. Those initial fast-formed groups, they rarely last.
Interesting.
Think about your own high school or college friends. The group you started with freshman year was probably radically different by the time you graduated, wasn't it?
Oh, totally. Yeah, big changes.
Why? Because finding that real alignment, that genuine connection, it takes sustained, consistent interaction over time. It doesn't happen in some rapid-fire orientation week. We just have to remember that patience and continuous effort, they're prerequisites.
That tees us up perfectly for the next really critical insight, which is all about the time investment needed. If just being near people isn't enough, what is? The sources lay down a pretty strict, almost necessary rule here. Give it a year.
Give it a year, yeah.
You have to commit to sustained effort, often awkward effort, maybe unrewarded effort for a while. over a significant period before you can even start to judge if your community building is working.
This give-it-a-year mandate, it's like a protective measure. It protects you against burnout.
Not so.
Because the expectation that connections will immediately feel deep or that your effort will be instantly rewarded with, like, dinner invitations, that's what makes people quit after just 2 months. We need to normalize the idea that there's an incubation period required. And to really drive this home, the source shared this incredibly personal story about their daughter, Sawyer, when she first went off to college.
Oh, that story is painful because it's just so relatable for anyone starting over somewhere new. Sawyer was calling home like every week, often crying, convinced she was at the wrong school, wanting to transfer, saying things like, "My people just aren't here. I see everyone else having fun, making friends."
And the advice the author gave her, despite all the tears, was firm but loving. It was basically, you need to hang up the phone, go find someone in the cafeteria and ask to sit with them. You have to put yourself out there. And crucially, you must commit to giving it a full year.
Tough love.
Very. And Sawyer hated that advice, apparently. But she and her 2 initial acquaintances, Lexi and Michaela, they kept trying, even when it felt completely pointless.
Let's zero in on the type of effort they put in, though, because this is where we start seeing a blueprint for adult friendship taking shape. They weren't just sitting back and waiting.
No, absolutely not. They were constantly putting themselves out there, DMing people they saw online, joining tons of different clubs, even trying out for the club lacrosse team.
Oh, wow.
And getting cut, which is, a pretty big dose of rejection right there.
Definitely.
They went to every optional campus event they could find, and yet even after all that effort, month after month, nothing really clicked into place. No solid group formed.
This story really sets the stage perfectly for those 3 pillars that apparently govern adult friendship, which I know we'll synthesize later, but you can see them here, right?
You absolutely can. Sawyer had proximity. She was physically there on campus in the environment.
Right.
And she was generating energy. She was initiating, joining things, trying new activities, constantly putting in effort.
Okay.
But that third pillar, timing, it just wasn't right yet. It's like a puzzle,
Yeah.
All 3 pieces have to align for it to really work.
And the breakthrough, when it finally came, just proves that timing is often completely out of our hands.
Totally. It took a full year of this persistent, sometimes awkward effort. And the connection finally happened in the last few weeks of the school year.
Wow, right at the end.
Exactly. That's when she met Mary Margaret. And Mary Margaret, who must have seen Sawyer's consistent energy over the year, then introduced Sawyer and her friends Lexi and Michaela to 7 other girls. Those girls became her people.
A whole year of work, paying off just before summer break.
It proves the timeline is often completely outside our control. Our job is just to keep showing up, keep putting in the energy, and trust the timing will eventually align.
And then the sources pivot beautifully to the author's own experience, which adds this great layer of humility. Because after giving Sawyer this perfect advice, the author moves to a new, small, rural town and makes the exact same mistake they warned Sawyer against. They fell right into the expectation trap themselves.
Oh, the irony. It's classic, isn't it? They describe feeling bad for themselves for a whole year.
Not just isolated, but actively choosing isolation. Crying, playing sad music, complaining to their spouse, being completely closed off emotionally and just kind of expecting friendship to magically appear like it would just fall out of the sky.
That's the ultimate passive approach, isn't it? Just sitting in the house waiting for the phone to ring instead of realizing they were the main character in creating their own social world.
The turning point is almost comically desperate, but so real. The author's on a walk, literally sobbing to their 2 adult daughters about having 0 friends.
Oh my goodness.
When they happen to pass the house of a woman named Mia, who the author had met just once, very briefly, like 6 months before.
Okay, this is a critical moment. Pause here. Because we talk about making a bold move, but the source really captures that feeling of just sheer dread.
Yeah.
That total internal resistance to being vulnerable. The author felt terrified, scared, like a complete loser for having to resort to this kind of desperate, unsolicited visit. We have to acknowledge that emotional hurdle, the fear of rejection, of looking foolish, that's probably the single biggest barrier for most people in making friends as adults.
Absolutely. But the daughters, bless them, they forced the issue.
Good for them.
They basically marched the author up the driveway. And when Mia's husband answered the door, the author just blurted out this incredibly vulnerable, totally unrehearsed line. Something like, "I met her a while ago. I'm brand new here. I'm really lonely. I just thought I would stop and say hello."
Wow. That takes guts. even forced guts.
And the daughters provided the perfect social cover, basically saying, yeah, our mom needs friends. She thought your wife was cool, so we made her come say hi.
Brilliant. Just brilliant.
That moment of, let's call it, necessary humiliation, it broke the ice completely. The husband was gracious. The author met Mia again. They exchanged numbers.
Yeah.
And a week later, the author and Mia were out walking together.
And that incredibly uncomfortable, agonizing knock on Mia's door, it fundamentally proved the whole thesis. Adult friendship isn't some passive reward you wait for. It's something you create. Through active, often awkward initiation, it required that painful surge of energy to overcome the hurdle of proximity, both the physical distance and the social barrier, and to finally seize the timing, the fact that Mia was actually home and receptive.
This leads us right into the really actionable core of this whole deep dive, the habit of going first, and consciously building what the sources cleverly call social scaffolding.
This is the definitive mindset shift. We move away from that victim place of, why aren't they inviting me, to the proactive stance of, let me.
Okay.
The sources define this pivot by encouraging specific let me phrases to take the initiative. Things like, let me be the first to introduce myself, or let me just say I'm new here, really owning that vulnerability.
Or even just, let me know if you ever want to go for a walk. Here's my number. Taking the lead.
Exactly. And the really beautiful result of this continuous small-scale effort is that the author in her 50s in a small rural town slowly found some of her absolute favorite people, simply by having one awkward initiated conversation at a time.
That proves two huge things, doesn't it? First, it's never too late. And second, no matter your age or location, pretty much everyone needs and wants connection. The gap is usually just finding someone willing to, well, go first.
But how do we make that going first habit feel less terrifying? The sources offer these fantastic, really low-stakes micro-habits, ways to build warmth that feel totally manageable, starting with simple compliments.
Yeah, I liked this part. It's described as basically a foolproof way to break the ice without feeling like you're being intrusive or weird.
Right. If you genuinely love someone's nail color or their outfit or even their socks, just stop and tell them.
Just say it.
Just say it. Makes them feel seen, And it instantly creates this tiny moment of positive shared experience. It's super low stakes, highly effective, and doesn't require you to share your life story.
Okay, that feels doable. What's the next habit?
The second one is about pure, focused curiosity. Ask people questions. What are they reading at the coffee shop? What did they order that looks interesting? People generally love to talk about themselves or their interests. The source emphasizes you kind of get points just for going first and showing genuine interest. Even if the chat only lasts a minute, you've signaled warmth, approachability.
And the third habit is really just foundational social maintenance, isn't it? Smiling and saying hello to everyone you pass.
Exactly. The source notes that being a warm and approachable person isn't just a personality trait. It's a skill you have to practice, a muscle you strengthen, until it becomes a way of life. Doing that constantly opens up little possibilities for connection, and it lowers the mental barrier for you to initiate bigger things later.
But, and this seems critical, all this warmth, all this initiating, it has to be done under the no expectation rule.
Absolutely crucial. The point of complimenting someone's socks or asking about their book isn't to immediately get invited to their wedding.
Right. Not transactional.
Not at all. The purpose is simply to create connections to improve your life, your sense of belonging in the world. The more you practice initiating without expecting anything specific back, the faster the right people, the ones who genuinely match your energy, will actually show up.
This is where that concept of weak ties becomes incredibly powerful. And this is an insight we probably shouldn't rush past.
Agreed.
We often dismiss those people we see every day but don't really know. The person at the coffee counter, the neighbor you just wave to, the people you sit near regularly.
Yeah, we see them as background characters. But the sources argue they're not strangers. They are super powerful. They form this vital, necessary foundation, this social scaffolding for your day-to-day routine and well-being.
Why are they so powerful?
Because they provide what sociologists call bridging social capital. They prevent isolation, first off. They give you access to casual support like who can recommend a good plumber. And they often hold local knowledge or connections completely outside your immediate circle. Without this scaffolding of weak ties, you can feel deeply adrift, even if you have strong friendships far away. Acknowledging these weak ties transforms an impersonal town or city into a potential community network.
I love the really systematic approach the author took to build this scaffolding in their local coffee shop. especially after spending a year just sitting there in silence. It's like a practical blueprint anyone could follow.
It really is. They consciously decided, okay, I'm going to initiate today. First step, ask the cashier his name.
Kevin.
Kevin. And they didn't just let it go in one ear and out the other. They immediately took out their phone, created a new contact file titled Coffee Shop, and put notes in. Kevin, the tall barista with a beard.
That might feel a bit weird to some people, but it's really about treating your local environment and the people in it seriously, right?
Exactly. It's about intentionality. And they did the same thing with the young couple they'd seen there morning after morning, but never actually spoken to.
Gregory and Jordan.
Right. They just went up and said something simple like, hey guys, I see you here a lot. I just moved to the area, wanted to introduce myself. I'm Mel. What are your names? And boom, they met Gregory and Jordan.
And straight into the coffee shop contact file they went.
Yep, with notes. Cute married couple, moved from Los Angeles, baby is adorable. And then they discovered, just by chatting, that this couple had also moved there only a year ago. Instant common ground. They had successfully broken the ice with two sets of people they previously just saw as furniture.
But the real aha moment, the kicker,
Yeah.
came when the author asked them what they did for work.
This part is amazing. Gregory reveals he works in the podcast business, and Jordan is a psychologist.
Wow.
The author had spent an entire year sitting maybe 10 feet away from two people with whom she had incredible, aligned, common ground, shared interests, even potential professional synergy.
Just because she hadn't initiated, hadn't
Yeah.
said hello.
Exactly. Simply knowing names, being able to say, hi, Kevin, morning, Gregory, hi, Jordan. It dramatically changed the whole feel of the place for the author. It made them feel instantly more connected to where they lived.
Yeah, less anonymous.
Totally. The warmth you offer, it almost always finds its way back somehow. And this initial social scaffolding, these weak ties, that's exactly how the author eventually met one of their now closest friends, David.
Think about that connection. David lived just a mile away the whole time for a year.
Incredible.
But they never connected because both were probably sitting in their respective corners feeling isolated. Their friendship started with just a simple coffee shop hello, a weak tie initiation, and now David and his husband are described as being like family.
It's such tangible proof. Even the most casual weak ties, when you acknowledge them, when you cultivate them with just a little bit of proactive energy, they can genuinely blossom into strong, meaningful, supportive connections.
Okay, so once you've kind of mastered that one-on-one go-first mindset and you've started building your social scaffolding with weak ties, what's the next level?
The next step is accelerating community building. Moving from those individual connections to actually cultivating entire groups of friends, we have to learn how to scale the effort, basically.
Strategy 1 seems essential here. Proximity by shared interest. Stop looking for friends just anywhere and start looking in more targeted locations.
Exactly. The sources strongly suggest signing up for group classes or activities, things like CrossFit, yoga, a running club, maybe cooking classes, painting, improv.
Even furniture refinishing, they mentioned.
Yeah, whatever floats your boat. The point is, these activities automatically put you near people who already share at least one common interest with you, and that dramatically lowers the barrier to starting a conversation.
Right, you have an immediate natural topic, built-in common ground. Less awkwardness than just approaching a stranger cold.
Precisely. Then strategy 2 involves the crucial next step.
Yeah.
You have to take the connection out of the class environment. Once you click with someone in that yoga class or painting workshop, you notice their commitment, maybe their sense of humor, their kindness. You have to be the one to go first and suggest something else. Ask them to grab a coffee sometime, or go for a walk outside the structure of the class.
And the source really emphasizes that the more you practice just inviting people, even if they say no sometimes, which is totally fine.
It is totally fine.
The more comfortable you get with it, and the faster you'll find your actual core community. You're essentially testing for that timing and energy alignment with every single invitation you extend.
You got it. Now, strategy 3 is maybe the most empowering move of all for the adult friend seeker, creating the event yourself.
Love this one. Stop waiting for an invitation to the party. Basically, start your own party.
Exactly. The author gave several fun examples, inviting a small group to listen to some local jazz, organizing a wreath-making class around the holidays,
Or something quirky like drag queen bingo.
or even just volunteering together to, say, dig up dahlia bulbs at the community garden. The point is, you control the context, you control the invitation list, you set the tone.
The best proof of this strategy working is that walking group success story.
Oh, absolutely. The author met just one woman at a hair salon, a weak tie. initiated with warmth, right?
Right.
Invited her to walk. That woman then brought a friend. And slowly, the author just kept inviting other people they'd met through various go-first moments, other weak tie connections.
And that group didn't just happen once, it sustained and grew.
It did. 3 years later, that walking group still meets every single Wednesday at 6:30 a.m. The text chain is apparently so full they literally can't add any more people.
Wow.
And new people still show up sometimes, just based on word of mouth. That's the give it a year principle perfectly applied to group formation. You initiate the structure, you put in the energy, and if the timing and energy are right for others too, the group sustains itself and expands organically over time.
The sources also made sure to include the perspective of the author's husband, Chris, which I think is important. It shows these strategies aren't just for one gender or one type of personality.
Yeah, that was a great addition. Chris's approach was also really tactical. He focused heavily on proximity by joining existing structures, a gym, a golf league, paddle tennis clinics. He became a hospice volunteer, got really involved at the local ski mountain.
So finding his tribes through activities.
Exactly. And then, just like the author, Chris mirrored Strategy 3 by creating his own group event. He started a Tuesday morning sunrise group. They climbed the mountain together and then ski down.
That sounds intense and amazing.
Right. And the word spread incredibly fast. Now, apparently, 15 to 20 people show up every week for that.
So what both of these examples hammer home is pretty simple, isn't it?
It is. Every single person you meet, pretty much everywhere, is secretly looking for opportunities to connect. The power, and honestly the responsibility, lies with the person willing to be the one to start the group, initiate the club, or organize the activity.
Okay, but here's where the perspective needs to shift again, I think. We've talked a lot about the action, the let me, the going first, but we also need the philosophical balance, right? That philosophy of flexibility, which the sources call the let them theory.
Ah, yes, let them. This is so critical because even when you master going first, even when you start creating events, people will still inevitably come and go from your life. That's just reality. You absolutely must release the grip of needing every single connection you initiate to become permanent or perfectly reciprocal. Adult friendships require enormous flexibility. You have to stop expecting the invitation all the time, and you have to stop clinging so tightly when things naturally shift due to life circumstances, because they will shift.
The sources give this really freeing checklist of situations where you just need to apply let them. Like if you say hello at the coffee shop and the person is kind of awkward or unfriendly.
Their reaction is about them, their stress, their bad day, whatever. It's not a judgment on your worth or the validity of your effort. Let it go.
Okay. Or if their calendar's just genuinely too packed for a walk. Or they cancel weekend plans because they had a brutal week at work.
Let them. Be understanding. Don't take it personally. If they fall head over heels in love or they have a baby, and understandably, you're not their top priority in that specific moment or season.
Let them.
Exactly. Let them have that chapter.
What about bigger shifts, like if they move away or they start a whole new chapter in their life?
Yeah.
Or maybe they just stop returning calls as much.
Let them. Seriously, if their life priorities have clearly shifted, acknowledge it. If the timing or the proximity or just the energy between you feels consistently off, you have to trust that feeling and let them go without harboring resentment.
This feels crucial because this theory, let them, it actually brings the power back to you, doesn't it? By
Yeah.
refocusing entirely on what you can control.
Precisely. It's about your own agency, your own let me actions. You shift from mourning the loss or getting frustrated by the change in someone else's behavior to focusing back on your own continuous proactive efforts.
So instead of getting stuck on why aren't they calling, it becomes,
Let me be understanding of their busy schedule or their new life phase. Let me continue to make a genuine effort to initiate connection with others. Let me check in with this person occasionally, but without any heavy expectation of an instant or specific reply.
and importantly, let me trust my own intuition when the energy just feels consistently off between us.
Yes. And maybe most importantly, let me act with the unwavering belief that some of my absolute favorite friends are people I haven't even met yet. And I will find them if I just keep going first, keep putting out that energy.
That creates so much space, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Emotionally and maybe even practically in your schedule.
It really does. By releasing that need to cling desperately to friendships that are naturally fading or just aren't serving you anymore, you immediately make room for new connections. Connections that are genuinely aligned with who you are and where you are right now. It's a dynamic process, friendship, not static.
Okay, let's try to synthesize this whole deep dive then. Bring it all together around those 3 pillars of mastering adult friendship. The fundamental thing is that complete shift in mindset, right?
Absolutely. Stop expecting friendship to just happen passively. Start taking responsibility for actively creating it.
So pillar one is really about understanding the problem. The great scattering happened. It's real. We wrongly carry expectations from childhood or college, expecting constant inclusion, effortless proximity, immediate text replies into adulthood.
And that incorrect expectation is the psychological driver. That's what leads to the feelings of disconnection, loneliness, and isolation. We have to first accept the reality of the adult social landscape. It's just different.
Okay, pillar two is embracing the truth. Adult friendship really rests on three dynamic pillars that have to align. Can you recap those?
Sure. First is proximity. And this doesn't just mean living nearby. It means creating structured, recurring closeness. Like the weekly walking group, the CrossFit class you always go to on Tuesdays, or that daily coffee shop routine. Intentional proximity.
Got it. Second.
Second is timing. Accepting that great connections might take a year, maybe even more, to actually surface and solidify. Sawyer's story proved that, right? The sustained effort is what allows you to capitalize when the timing finally does click.
And third.
Third is energy. That positive, proactive initiation, the consistent habit of going first. Using those let me phrases and actions to signal warmth, openness, and intent.
Okay, problem, truth. So pillar three is the solution.
Exactly, and the solution combines both theories. Use a let them theory first. Adopt that flexible mentality. Understand that fluidity in relationships is normal, it's expected.
Release the grip.
Release the grip. And then focus all your controllable effort on the action. Go first. Start creating connections big and small without any expectation attached. Sign up for the class. Start the walking club. Send the text inviting someone for coffee. Smile at Kevin the barista and ask how his day is going.
One awkward, initiated conversation at a time.
That's how you do it. That's how you find your people and build a supportive, meaningful community around you. This whole approach, it really empowers you.
Yeah, it feels like taking back control.
It is. You release the need to cling to what's fading or what isn't working, and you take charge of your own social life by consciously reaching out, initiating, and cultivating your own proximity, timing, and energy.
That feels like the ultimate empowerment, really. You have so many laughs and memories and incredible adventures just waiting out there. Loneliness is definitely real, we know that, but you're not stuck there.
Absolutely not. It's actually harder, requires more negative energy to just stay home feeling lonely and disconnected than it is to risk that one potentially awkward moment of introduction.
That's a great way to put it. The life you want, the community you really deserve, it's waiting for you to step up and create it.
So to leave you with a final, maybe action-oriented question to really chew on based directly on everything we've discussed.
Yeah, good.
If proximity, timing, and energy are truly the three pillars of adult friendship, what is just one existing group or one recurring activity already in your current schedule? Maybe it's your gym, your workplace cafeteria, your commute, even just your regular coffee shop stop.
Where you could practice going first this week simply by learning one new name. Just one. Because honestly, your soulmate or your next favorite friend could very well be sitting 2 tables away from you today just waiting for someone to say hello.